Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to talk about daily crystal ore farming. So I'm gonna go over their spawn locations and the new mechanics behind the new daily magical crystal chunks introduced in version 1.1. So the background footage that I'm going to show is going to be their locations as I talk about these new magical crystal chunks. Now, before we get into this, I thought it'd be important to let you guys know why farming crystals is going to be important and some of the limitations behind making mystic enhancement ore from the blacksmiths. So you should know that you can only create 30 mystic enhancement ore daily from the blacksmiths. So this is a gated resource actually. That means that you can forge 120 of your crystal chunks into the enhancement ore. And farming these new daily nodes will net you somewhere between 40 to 80 crystal chunks depending on how many chunks that you get from actually breaking the node. Yes, this is all RNG. And if we factor in your expeditions and the naturally spawning ones, the ones that spawn every 72 hours, it's not possible to hit 120 crystal chunks every day, but perhaps maybe every 72 hours because of the naturally spawning ones. Let me explain the mechanics behind the new daily crystal spawns. They will respawn a couple of hours after the daily server reset. This one is not exactly confirmed because no one really wants to wait around until that late at night just to check. But from my experience of farming these daily at different times of the day, sometimes at night, and then I'll come back the next morning, it definitely seems like the case that these are respawning on the daily server reset, or at least a couple hours afterwards. Each rich ore reserve will spawn 2 to 3 of the magic crystal nodes, along with 2 of the regular crystal nodes. Each region will spawn a certain amount of these reserves each day with a random location. Mondstadt will spawn 6 and Liwa will spawn 10. So once you've mined 6 in Mondstadt, you can move on with your life, and once you've mined 10 in Liwa, you can be rest assured that you've mined all of the daily locations. And so when these rich ore reserves do spawn, they are usually batched together. So what I mean by that is that if you get a cluster to spawn in the Guyun Stone Forest, then all 4 of the Guyun Stone Forest locations are going to spawn that day. And if you get a spawn in Storm Terror's domain, then most, if not all of Mondstadt's spawns will be in Storm Terror's lair. And so I'll show you an example of the clustering in just a little bit. Okay, I think this is a good segue into showing you guys most of the potential spawn locations for these magical crystal ores. So let's go over the map. The map that I'm showing you guys right now is the spawn locations that typically spawn in my world. Now you may or may not get the same configuration in your own worlds. You'll just have to go and check for yourselves. For me personally, I have typically been getting giraffes spawn. If you're not getting this configuration, then you'll probably want to talk to the other NPCs for a couple of days straight just to see if their spawns are more consistent for your world. And once you've done this for a couple of days, don't forget to mark those locations so that you don't have to go and talk to those NPCs again. Okay, so here's a map of the mainland of Liyue, and every spot that I've marked with a pickaxe here is a potential spawn for a daily crystal location. However, up in the Luhua Pool area, I have marked a couple of pickaxe spots, but only one of them. The one with the actual crystal ore marker is the only one that's going to spawn a daily crystal node. Okay, so there are actually new dialogue options for various NPCs to help you locate where these rich ore reserves are spawning. So it's not actually required to talk to them in order to spawn these rich ore reserves. They just help you locate them. So if you know all of the locations by heart, you can just go ahead and check all of the areas yourself. So personally what I do is I like to talk to the blacksmiths only, and I don't talk to the other NPCs just because the blacksmiths usually reveal more locations, and the blacksmiths usually reveal the areas where there's more RNG associated with the potential spawn locations. So it's nice to know exactly which of those areas that I need to go. So each of these NPCs kind of own a location, so if there are daily spawns there at that specific location, they'll tell you if it's there or not. If there's nothing there, then they won't mark them on your map. So there are 3 NPCs in Mondstadt and 3 in Liyue as well. The first one is Draff, the second one is Doolin, and the third one is Davy. In Liyue, you have Pan, Iron Shoulder, and Shizhuang. I'm telling you guys these NPCs just for your own information. I personally don't use these because it's too much of a hassle to fly over there and talk to them. So yeah, it's just all personal preference. It doesn't affect the spawn rates of the daily crystal ores. Alright, so here's my recommendation if you want to farm crystals as quickly and as efficiently as possible. First, I think you should only talk to the blacksmiths because they are going to reveal what I call the core locations. And so in Mondstadt, the blacksmith will reveal 3 of those core locations, and in Liyue, the blacksmith will reveal 5 of those core locations. Usually there's going to be one more hidden spot that is unmarked by them that is going to be within that core. So an example in Liyue is that near Mount Tianheng, usually he'll only mark one of those spots, but both of them usually spawn there. So in my world, basically I usually get 4 spawns that are revealed in the core location for Mondstadt and 6 locations in the core location for Liyue. And then for Mondstadt, the remaining 2 are usually near Draff, and in Liyue, my remaining 4 are usually in Guyan Stone Forest. However, Liyue is kind of big, so there's actually a couple of other locations where the remaining 4 can spawn. That location is reportedly the Jueyun Karst area, but I personally have never gotten that area to spawn, so you'll just have to check your own worlds to see if that is your consistent spawn. And if you actually don't mine a ore reserve, then it will despawn itself and respawn the next day. These daily ore reserves are also on a completely separate timer from the naturally spawning crystal ore nodes. Many of the locations overlap with the natural 72-hour timer nodes, and they can actually appear together. And when that happens, a ton of crystals actually appear. It's kind of nice. And the background footage that I'm showing right now is of the Guyan Stone Forest, and this is going to go back to the clustering that I mentioned earlier. So I had a clip earlier of Guyan Stone Forest right off the teleporter, and there was a spawn of daily crystals. So that means that all 4 of the Guyan locations are going to spawn daily crystals. These clips also happen to overlap with my 72-hour natural crystal spawns, so there are a lot of crystals in the clips that I'm farming right now. So basically, when I farm my crystals in Liyue, I like to check to see if Guyan spawns one of the locations, and if it does, then I automatically know that the rest of the Guyan locations have spawned as well. And the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is honorable mention crystal spawns that don't spawn daily crystals but spawn a lot of crystals every 72 hours. So this is a good one to check every 3 or 4 days. So when you farm the crystals on Jueyun Karst, you'll want to pick up the 3 crystals that spawn on the mountain itself. And then after that, you'll want to circle the outer perimeter of the mountain and grab the couple of spawns that spawn there. And once you've made your way all around the perimeter, you'll come to the waterfall and you'll want to jump down it and grab the next 4 nodes, 4 or 5 nodes that spawn near the waterfall. Then after that, you make your way down the path and grab another couple nodes near the bridge. Mount Aozang spawns a whole lot of crystals as well. You'll want to teleport up to the top of the mountain and then just jump on down. There is a cave at the base of the mountain that has a lot of core lapis and a ton of crystal ore. And the final honorable mention is the waterfall just south of Chinksa village. You'll want to teleport and then just climb this mountain to get to the top and mine the nodes there while avoiding the treasure hoarders. Totally up to you guys. You guys can kill the treasure hoarders if you want. Alright, that's the end of this video. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.